South Florida, if there's one thing that we've tried to inform the general public about, if you're not from down there, if you've never done politics in South Florida, please stop talking about it like you know what the fuck you're talking about, because you don't.
Please.
It's true.
You just don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to, and I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names, but there have been an inordinate amount of fellow leftist content creators that normally are my people that I have been cringing for the past weeks as they've been promoting a candidate that they know nothing about based on like one variable. And at the end, yes, and at the end of the day, they were all used as useful idiots by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And that's so frustrating. And I know these people mean well, but yet just because you understand policy doesn't mean you understand politics. And maybe, yeah, that's my thought.
I want people to understand that in South Florida, as cringe and despicable as this person is, there are a lot of people who think and act just like this.
I prosecuted the case against Kristi Noem for her to be removed. I prosecuted the case against Pam Bondi to be removed, okay? Hold on. And yet, my district will be one of those districts that decide whether Hakeem Jeffries, the first black speaker in American history, gets to be speaker. But because of Israel, they're willing to give up winning the House.
Yes, we are, Zio pussy. Yes, we are. We most certainly are. You. Sorry.
Colin, we're getting an audio kickback from Jen. Do you know where that's coming from?
Usually your speaker.
I don't hear it.
No, it's probably from Peter's speaker, but
yeah, I don't hear it too much, but if it is, yeah, just I'll keep an eye out.
Turn down your speakers, Peter.
I did. So as much as people look at this and think, oh my God, this guy's a raving lunatic. Oh, and he's going with the identity politics to talk about Hakeem Jeffries, who recently came out, even though the latest report regarding single-payer healthcare says it will save over 115,000 lives a year, plus save us $1 trillion in healthcare costs. And of course, Zio Pussy here does not support it. And he fully supports Israel. And so, yes, he did win his election against Oliver Larkin, but Oliver Larkin gave one heck of a performance, and he's a really good dude. And he got the most out of what he had. And
I think at the end of the day, Moskowitz is going to could lose his seat anyway.
I think you might be right. Mm-hmm.
That seat's going to flip.
Yeah.
And if anybody deserves to lose, it's him.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, the person who's going to take it from him is a sawed-off little Zio just like him. So it's not really going to change much. But at least then they'll be wearing the real colors that they want to wear. I mean, Moskowitz, like he's I don't even care about the two-party shit anymore. I just care about the fact that he is a total corporate Zio scum of the worst kind. And another Napoleon complex type problem with a guy like this. But he's up there preaching about, oh, you don't want to have Hakeem Jeffries as speaker? No. Well, why would we? I still don't understand that.
Well, they work for the same handler, right? I mean, you would assume Moskowitz is going to pull for AIPAC Shakur.
Yeah. So there's no justification behind this. And when you look back,
well, I felt like if people hadn't thrown Oliver Larkin under the bus like they did, and if he wasn't kind of like somewhat ignored DSA, like he could have been DSA national by some of the by many of the chapters, I feel like he could have done better if he had organizing melted behind him. But you guys know how that goes. You guys know how, you've got the Working Families Party, you've got DSA, you've got these organizations, and they'll pick their favorites. And a lot of the time, this isn't the rank and file necessarily, because I think that there's very good organizers in DSA that do great work. But they so keen on sheep herding people back into the Democratic Party and watering down our platforms when it gets close to election cycle or right after somebody wins. And Oliver Larkin was standing, pretty 10 toes down on what he supported.
It wouldn't matter in that way, because even like, first of all, I'm not a fan of DSA. I feel like, and if you're gonna just push people back into the Democratic Party, then you're just controlled opposition.
Yeah.
But even giving them the complete benefit of the doubt and saying, oh, okay, Florida is not the best use of their resources. It just isn't. There's a reason that organizations like that don't put money into races in Florida, because Florida is, that seat in particular very likely can go red. So to put a lot of money into those races is not the smart strategy. So I get it, even though Oliver's a great guy, and we had him on the show, nice guy. If he were in my district, I'd vote for him. But that's just not where that district is. That district, I mean, and I actually hope it does flip red. I do. I hope it does. And
I actually think
why?
Because it basically is anyway. It is anyway. What do you think Moskowitz is? You think Moskowitz is
most Democrats are already Republicans in my mind.
So
I mean, they're conservatives.
Exactly.
No, exactly. I actually do hope that Singer wins the seat in November, because I do think that Larkin is going to run again, and if he does, he will be the nominee the next time around. He will have already established himself with the type of infrastructure that you would need to win an open primary in that particular spot, because not everybody's necessarily going to be going after it, and he will create. It's very much in what
run for the seat. He needs to run for the Frankel seat. That's
well.
I'm convinced he should run independent. I think a lot more candidates should try to run independent. I know that it's hard to get finances, but I feel like I stand to this. I feel like it's possible. I think, when we look at Sama Shawant's race, I was kind of surprised by that, but I have no idea behind the scenes what the organizing was like, and that's no judgment on them. I just don't know how the campaign was organized. I don't know how much door knocking was going on and that sort of thing. And I don't know what fundraising looked like. You do have to still have fundraising. You do have to still do the traditional organizing. But if you run independent, you can run all the way to the general. Now, in Washington State, though, it's a top 2 primary, so it doesn't really matter because it's an open primary, because you're going to face a primary no matter what. But in a closed primary state like Florida or Kentucky or Tennessee, I don't know. I think there might be some wisdom, and those areas tend to have more independent people. But I don't know about Larkin's district. I'm not as familiar with his district, even though I'm familiar with that area.
Yeah, it's in a position where it looks like it's close. It's like, it's very affluent. Okay. And so even the blue is really red. That's my point. Right? Like they're just nicer about the gay people, I guess. And they don't hate women's reproductive freedom, but really other than that, it's all the same. And I think though, that maybe in a certain point in another, few seasons, maybe they'd be ready for a third party candidate, but traditionally in South Florida, that would never go anywhere.
It also goes to show you how much different politics really is in South Florida compared to the rest of the state. Especially
that's a different story. That could be independent. I think that is
somewhere like Ocala, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So
those places you could do an independent run with somebody that's a populist. I do think that you could do that there. Yeah.
And the reason we know this for certain, and we'll get to Elijah last, but I think it's important for people to understand that when you're dealing with the type of, first of all, affluent Zionist entity of the people that predominantly live in the Frankel, Moskowitz, and Wasserman Schultz, technically not the district in question that she's in now, but nevertheless, that particular enclave is very much rooted in an Israel. If you want to talk about the part of the United States where the voting demographic very much leans into Israel first over the United States, that's it. It's Southeast Florida. 100%. They do have a preference for that, which is why it's an even bigger shock that this happened the other night.
Nixon, who will be my opponent in November, and her comrades want to destroy this country.
I look forward to Ashley Moody calling me senator in November. And secondly, Ashley Moody actually used 10 million of our dollars that were supposed to go towards the most medically needy kids in our state to divert that funding and to defeat ballot initiatives that the citizens placed on the ballot. And so Ashley Moody doesn't care about anything but herself. We continue to see her net worth increase. Meanwhile, Floridians across our state, their net worth is going down. They have absolutely nothing in their savings account. She won't even hold town hall meetings unless they're Republicans. I am someone who's willing to go out and talk to everyone, even if they don't believe how I believe ideologically, because I want to represent all Floridians here in the state of Florida. Many people who have called and reached out to Ashley Moody's office for help, you know who they call because she doesn't return their call? They call me. They email me, and we help connect them to the resources that they need. And so I'm not running away from the people, I'm running to them. And I look forward to becoming their next United States Senator come November.
Angie
Good
was on
for
our
Angie.
podcast. Yep, she was on our podcast a week before the election. We are obviously very
I
happy.
missed that.
Yep.
That's cool.
And well, what else is new? Everybody misses our stuff because we are put in a corner. That's exactly what happens.
Well, I mean, we're Florida people, and I've known Angie for a few years. So it's, you know, she's been a really loud voice in Tallahassee for a while. So, you know, I know she's new to a lot of other people, but she
was organizing on the ground when generational change was organized. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that she is going to, there's a couple of things that I think is going to happen here. The first is she's going to surprise people. There's no question about it. I think she's going to do better than expected. She'll definitely do better than Val Demings did.
Travers, tell me what she said. Sabby shouted us out again. I need to know. All right. Oh, she'll definitely do better than Val Demings. She's a lot better of a candidate than Val Demings. Val Demings is a cop. Yeah. There's no universe where no. And then use the sheriff badge like as her logo. Yeah, no, we're not gonna have any of that kind of shit. Yeah, so I think she'll do a lot better.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely one part of it. And you know, you have to remember that Val is somebody who, I mean, again, I've always been aware of her, but she came on the radar back in November of 23. She was the first person in the state of Florida that was in an elected body that actually came out and condemned Israel. And that took a lot of guts. And she did it on the floor of the House in Tallahassee. And you had this House representative out of Pensacola who was in the GOP. I forget her name, Salzman or whatever the hell her name was. And you know, she asked how many Palestinian children have to die. And the woman said, all of them. So these people are nuts. And Florida is one of those states where you do have a lot of crazies for sure. But the thing that I'm more looking forward to when it comes to Ashley's run
Peter talks to Sabby.
Yeah. And
she knows where we are.
One of the things that I think Angie is going to do, which is going to fully expose the system in a way that probably hasn't been seen in a while, the Democratic establishment is going to abandon her. They're going to turn their back on her. They will not fundraise for her. And the excuse that they're going to give is that it's a red state. It's Florida. Moody's not losing. Donald's is not losing. So we're not going to put any infrastructure here. There's no point.
Yes.
They're going to treat her the way that they treated Stacey Abrams before Stacey Abrams kind of turncoated.
Before we disliked her.
Yeah, I mean, because she did get a tremendous amount of pressure before that ever happened. She did fight back before that ever happened. She did do a lot of organizing and work before that happened. But, you know, I don't think people understand how much that pressure is. I'm not saying that I'm not giving her an excuse for what she did. But at the same time, they will intentionally bury a progressive candidate. They will turn like you said, they will turn their back on Florida. They'll say this is a red state. They want wealthy people. Even the left they don't really want somebody from struggle. They don't really want a community organizer. They want someone that cosplays as one.
Well, that's because
that an actual community organizer isn't easily controlled.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, listen, you've done brand new Congress. You know how this works. The Democratic Party cares more about the Center for American Progress than they do about lifting up candidates that can win an election based on the merits of serving the working class. This is a grifter extraordinaire, and that's what brings us into Elijah Manley, because this is a guy who has run for office 6 times in a decade. And this time he raised $1.2 million. Hassan definitely played a role in helping him boost his fundraising for sure. But in the end, I know that this was a grift because I was down there for 3 days on the ground. And guess what I saw? Nothing for his campaign. No signs, no workers, no volunteers, not him, nothing. The only presence he had was in Wilton Manors. The consultants got paid, and we know some of them. Well, again, affluence begets more affluence, and people want to be a part of it.
There's new consulting firms that are the same consulting firms, and some of them are their brothers, cousins, and kids now that are running some of these. But it's the same people. They're making the same money as groups like Middle Seat, which AOC is paid now like $12 million to, or something crazy. That was started by I think Corbin Trent was affiliated with it, and then Zach Exley and those guys, and former Bernie Sanders staffers. They're now, at the last time I checked, they were at like 165 million. They're the ones that painted John Fetterman as leftist when he wasn't. Beto O'Rourke. They're the ones who launched Beto O'Rourke.
Beto.
And then they did the messaging for all Justice Democrats candidates. So
yeah, I mean,
start an organization, build a consulting firm around it, rake in millions of small dollar donations.
Well, that's what we know, people that's what they do, and they make a fortune doing this. And it doesn't matter win or lose. It doesn't matter they don't care. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And a lot of these candidates are in it. Well, there's that, Leo. Leo was one of our canvassers, one of our volunteers. I think the first campaign.
And the second.
Yeah. But I mean, all the way back to the first campaign.
Hello, Leo.
Yeah. So, and we had talked about this, and I am most definitely, and I've said this before, I am the person that likes to say, I told you so. I am. And I told y'all so. We said that we had reason to believe that there were certain candidates in that Florida District 20 race that were not genuine candidates, that were there as tools of Debbie Wasserman Schultz to help split the vote. I said this from the very beginning. I said it, I meant it, and you hear me. She knew she had the votes to win when she first announced she was running for that seat. She knew she had her votes. She had already bullied, extorted, bribed, and threatened everyone that she needed to get them into line. And she knew she had the number she needed as long as she put in enough dummy candidates to throw it off. We've been watching this the whole time. So, I don't understand. So we pointing it out. And then we have all these really great otherwise content creators that are really good revolutionary comrades out there promoting Elijah Manley. Why? Because he doesn't take AIPAC money? Despite the fact that Peter and I said, do you know why Elijah probably doesn't take AIPAC money, Zeynab? Because they didn't offer it to him. And the other thing is, when you're not legit and you're in it for the fun and the life, and you're just liking campaigning because you don't really want to have a job, and you can make so much money nationally fundraising, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't translate into votes because all of the consultants get paid and you get to take a cut. Right? So why would you care if you win? You still don't have to actually get a job.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Or both of you guys? I have this worry, right? Because I've seen this pattern over and over again. You guys are very familiar with it. In 2017, when Brand New Congress launched Abolish ICE, and you all know I wrote a lot of the messaging for the first Abolish ICE platform. We wrote the messaging for Medicare for All, along with NNU and PNHP and some other organizations. But when Medicare for All became popular, all these Democrats rolled out with Medicare for All, right? Mm-hmm. When Abolish ICE was hot, all these Democrats were on it. When the Black Lives Matter protest and the Defund the Police protest boomed and became one of the biggest activist rallying cries on the planet that year, and one of the largest in American history, everyone was behind it, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing this pattern where not only with Gaza, which is extremely critical, so it's disgusting to do this already with policing and concentration camps, but now you're going to do it with a literal genocide. You're going to do it with healthcare, policing, militarized police, our police state, and concentration camps, and now you're also going to do it with a genocide. And what they do is they'll knit their pink pussy hats, they'll get out there, they'll march, they'll come out with policies like Medicare for all who want it, right? And then they'll turn their back on it. And right now, I saw Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden came out and said, I think it's a genocide. I think my dad, he really kind of knew it was, and he felt it in his heart that it was wrong. Excuse me. He is the genocide heir. He is responsible for this. What do you mean his feelings? He helped to level a city. He helped to expand West Bank settlements. He helped them to get to where they are now, and they're trying to annex South Lebanon. That is all because of Biden. Trump too now, yes, but who laid the framework for that?
Don't think for one second that the reason why Hunter Biden is getting as much attention right now as he is because he's trying to whitewash his father's legacy. He's trying to do everything he can because his father is probably going to die soon. Obviously his cancer has metastasized, so obviously he's on borrowed time. And at this point, that's basically what they're trying to do. There wouldn't be any other reason because, again, can Hunter Biden say some of the right things that need to be said? Absolutely. But it doesn't absolve you of the things that you did.
Well, how do we let people know refusing AIPAC money isn't enough?
Well, we keep saying, you know what?
Other types of donors taking no corporate money isn't enough. So many sold out that didn't take corporate money, you guys.
Because language is everything.
Alex, look at Alex. If you're going to vote with them, you might as well take their money.
Yeah.
What did I tell you 5 years ago, Peter?
Yeah, you told me that she was going to run for president and that this is all one.
I'm so looking forward to it. She's going to look ridiculous. It's going to make Kamala's run look smooth.